This evening, let's explore concentration, distraction, and mindfulness. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. This is the Lama you're looking for. Such a deal. This evening we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Luke Skywalker learned to do on Dagobah under the guidance of Yoda, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. If at any point during this evening's live stream you have a question about meditation or philosophy or even chanting, there is no need to be shy. Simply type your question in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Well, unless, of course, you're watching a replay, then you'll want to type your question in the comment area below the video. R on Reddit asked, I do not have any peace or calm in my home. Any way I can get past this? R continues, I live in a city and there's not a single place in my house where I can focus to meditate. And if somehow there's calm, then there's noise from other people in the house. I'm new to meditation and have lots of questions. Does anyone have any resolution to this? I thought of using some meditation music, like water or something like that, with earphones and focus on meditation so that I won't be distracted by outside noise. But I'm not sure whether this will count as me meditating, as there's music in my ears, and whether it'll have some effect as when we meditate in a calm place. So, I have tremendous respect for R and his enthusiasm and his curiosity and his courage to ask questions on the internet, which is not always known as a warm, cuddly, safe space. So it makes these questions within the context of you being new to meditation make perfect sense. There's a lot of misinformation out there, often by people who really do mean well. One moment, I must adjust something. Ugh. Okay. Concentration is not meditation. Let's jump ahead to a description of yang and yin. Yang is rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, and competitive. Now, in concentration, it sounds like it's rigid, and concentration sounds like it's controlling. After all, you're determining what you notice and what you ignore. This path leads to many places, but peace and joy and love are not one of them. There is, however, a different path. It's the path of yin. And instead of being rigid, we're flexible. Instead of being fearful, we're loving. Instead of being controlling, we're laid back, which is the opposite of concentration. It's meditation. And we'll explore more of the details of meditation in just a few minutes. Now let's get back to my formal answer to this question, which I typed 6 days ago. Let's contrast concentration with mindfulness. Before we do, I think I have to get an ice pack. I'll be right back. Please don't be put off by the ice pack. It's just my way of coping with spring fever here on the West Coast. Let's continue. Numerous authors have recorded their misadventures, squandering months in earnest concentration, rigid and controlling. Where even in the bowels of a cave, the silence never felt perfect enough, nor the peace transformative enough. Mindfulness, flexible and laid back, is the opposite. For when practiced even in a busy intersection, every perception, emotion, and memory serves only to fuel the process, deepening its tranquility and consequential resiliency. Replace concentration with mindfulness, and you can meditate like a Jedi. Ooh, look at that. I've got something obstructing the screen. Isn't that silly? Is this any better if I go like this? Let's find out. Quick like a bunny, let's check the display. Well, that seems to be a little better. So how if I go like this and like that? Aha! And like this? Ooh, even better. Fabulous. Excellent. Okay. So let's take off. I'm going to tap button 6, and my intention for the next 15 seconds is for housekeeping. If there are lessons you'd like to request, or if you simply wish to support the continued availability of these classes, there is a Patreon link in the description area below the video. Let's warm up our neural pathways for love and enthusiasm by performing recitations of bodhicitta and refuge. May I liberate all beings by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Together let us chant this version of the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. It is paraphrased and it has little pockets of amplification here and there. Hopefully not out of self-importance, but merely out of an enthusiasm to ensure that those who come after me have an easier and swifter journey than I did. It is said that Quan Chi and Pusa had an archetype of enlightened compassion, while moving in the deep peace of perfect understanding, shed light on the 5 aggregates and found them equally empty. After this realization, she made peace with all pain. So, emptiness, when taken literally, it can be confusing. It can drive us towards superstition or skullduggery, neither of which are beneficial. When explored flexibly and seen through the lens of a figurative lens, it makes much more sense. So let's explore emptiness within the context of mindfulness and meditation. The heart of mindfulness is to silently recite, notice this, or to mentally recite, notice this, during each inhalation. The key to meditation is to mentally recite relaxing during each exhalation. Now, why would we do that? Ask a neuroscientist. They'll tell you. Every time we inhale, we access the sympathetic nervous system, which evolved to support the sensory acuity that allows us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and spontaneously notice. Notice what? Sensations, flavors, scents, sounds, sights, and the like, as well as emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. When done properly, we could find that the only label we need to ever use is simply the pronoun this. But whatever shall we do with all this stuff that we notice? Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our parasympathetic nervous system, which is wired for both physical relaxation as well as mental release. What are some of the things we could notice ourselves releasing? We can notice our habitual resistance to the presence of what we hate. We could notice our release of our habitual resistance to the absence of that which we crave. We could notice the release of our habitual resistance to the loss of that to which we cling. But what has that to do with empty, or emptiness, or void, or voidness, or for those who prefer Sanskrit, shunyata? Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever we previously noticed during our inhalation begins to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Well, that's Jim Dandy, but a simile is only as good as it is relatable. So, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is intangible to the hand? And there you have it. We are wired to notice when we breathe in. When we're startled, what do? We take a deep breath in. It is wired into our DNA. It's what we evolved to do. What do we do when we relax? We involuntarily exhale. These two correlate directly. So we are already wired to notice things and to let go of them. Then why do we muck about with a simile? Because every vertebrate life form on this planet evolved to think symbolically. And so, noticing that whatever we noticed begins to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void whenever we relax serves as a type of shorthand. Let's continue. Let's continue chanting. Listen, Shari Pundra Om is emptiness is form. Form does not differ from emptiness does not differ from form. The same is true with feeling, praise, impulse, and awareness. Whatever we can notice, we can release. This is a reoccurring theme in this text. Let's continue. Listen, Shariputra, phenomena are marked with emptiness. They are neither produced nor destroyed, neither corrupted nor purified, neither increasing nor decreasing. Therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no appraisal, no impulse, and no awareness that once perceived cannot be released. No sensation, no flavor, no scent, no sound, no sight, no phenomena that once perceived cannot be released. No body, no tongue, no nose, no ears, no eyes, no mind that once perceived cannot be released. No feeling, no tasting, no smelling, no hearing, no seeing, no noticing that once perceived cannot be released. No interdependent origins and no extinction of them from confusion to aging and death that once perceived cannot be released. No stress, no exacerbation, no liberation, no path, no understanding, no attainment that once perceived cannot be released. Because there is no attainment, the Bodhisattva archetypes of enlightenment supported by the perfection of understanding find no obstacles for the minds that once perceived cannot be released. Having no obstacles that once perceived cannot be released, they transcend the tyranny of fear, liberating themselves forever from the tyranny of illusion and realizing perfect nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future, thanks to this perfect understanding, arrive at full right and universal enlightenment. Therefore one should know that perfect understanding is like a great mantra, is like an unequaled mantra, the destroyer of all suffering, the incorruptible truth. A mantra of Prajnaparamita's perfect understanding could therefore be proclaimed. This is the mantra gate gate para samgate buddhi swaha. May also notice, relax, and release that we go completely and perfectly go to enlightenment. So we've already explored the basic exercise of mindfulness and meditation. I find it fun to alternate between mindfulness and meditation and 4 contemplations. For instance, as we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite, how could fill in the blank, whatever's going on. If there's nothing going on, you could just use the word this. And in the out breath, we silently and mentally recite, feel stressful. And notice this is a rhetorical question. Just by playing with these words, silently and mentally, in harmony with our breathing, inhaling, exhaling, and relaxing, we will make progress on the path. The next exercise is one of intention. All beings stress. May I soothe. We're not pretending to be magic. We're not pretending to be Gandalf the Grey or Galadriel the Golden. We're not trying to visualize or believe or emote. We're just playing with these words. Words affect our brain. Through the mechanism of neuroplasticity. We then return to the rhetorical questions. How could this never last? A study in impermanence. We conclude with, how could this not be me? You might say, dude, selflessness is kind of scary. To which I would respond, this is not supposed to be a tool to help us to understand deep metaphysics. It is simply a tool to get us to be more and more comfortable with the act of letting go that is already latent within each exhalation. We're playing with this to align our intention, our volition, with our factory-installed wiring. That's all. After playing with these 4 exercises, we could return to this exercise for 12 to 13 repetitions. Now, if you're terribly clever, you might ask, how do we keep track of that? How do we count to 12 on just 4 fingers and 1 thumb? I'm glad you asked. To answer that, I'm going to, quick like a bunny, jet over to the jumbo cam. Welcome to the jumbo cam. Consider your left hand. Upon each finger, there are 3 sets of creases and a tip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we could count our first 4 contemplations, 1, 2, 3, 4, and our next 12 mindfulness exercises and meditations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, most of us will probably meditate for more than just 16 breaths. So we can count sets of 16. And just as we count repetitions on our left hand, on our right hand, we can count sets. First set of 16, second set of 16, third set of 16, fourth set of 16. You go all the way through 16 sets, and that's 256 breaths. Do that twice, and that is 512. So now you can tell your friends that you know how to count to 512 on just 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. Well, it's 23 minutes after the hour. Let's meditate. Now, by the way, it's perfectly acceptable to just practice for 1 set of 16 rounds once every 12 hours. And when you're comfortable with that, you can bump that up to 2 sets of 16 rounds. When you're comfortable with that, you can bump it up to 3 sets of 16 rounds. That's a very gradual approach. Within 32 weeks, you could be very comfortable with 60 minutes of meditation every 12 hours. If you've joined us or just joined us, remember that whenever you have a question about meditation or philosophy, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. let us conclude this evening's session with 2 sets of chants. We begin with Ethics of Kindness. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness flow spontaneous and uncontrived. We conclude with the 4 immeasurables. May everyone be free from stress, may everyone be happy. May no one be separated from their happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. If you feel that I have earned it, please type something in the chat window, give this live stream a thumbs up, and share it on social media. In approximately 11¼ hours, we could return to explore Dharma as medicine. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy, and if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.